Right, we are actually in the right category on Twitch now of the gate. All right, good morning, good day, happy Saturday if it's not morning for you, if it's still Saturday. Welcome, first of all, and thanks for watching if you are. And let me shuffle a few of these around real quick, and then we will go to the browser next. And that's very blurry. Let me focus that, even though it's not what I want to talk about immediately. Yoink. Okay, a little bit better. There we go. Yes. All right. So welcome. For anybody new, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord, and I typically stream around this time each week. We're a couple minutes early, but I usually start right around 10 a.m. Central Time, working on some stuff related to CircuitPython. If you are new and you don't know what CircuitPython is, you can find out more at the main website for the project here, CircuitPython.org. This is basically a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers, of which there is one on the back of this thing. So this device here is a microcontroller. This one happens to be a Feather ESP32S3 device, and it's plugged into a Feather wing, which allows it to have a display here and some other stuff as well. But CircuitPython itself is a version of Python that runs on those tiny computers like that Feather, and allows you to write Python code that runs on them. And your Python code can then interface with all sorts of other stuff. In the case of what I have here, obviously it's interfacing with the display. I also have it hooked up to a little game pad thing, which is a bit hard for me to get under the camera at the moment, but that's hooked up as well. And we have Python code that ties it all together, and as you can see there, occasionally raises exceptions when things go wrong. So CircuitPython, that's what it's about. If you want to learn more, again, CircuitPython.org. Join us on Discord, which I think is still linked below, right? Yeah, on Discord. We're in the live broadcast chat during the stream, but there's a help with CircuitPython and a CircuitPython dev channel where you can get help with your project if you're trying to make something with CircuitPython, or just get involved with CircuitPython generally, helping out with development or just watching along with what's going on in the CircuitPython world. As always, thanks to Adafruit. Adafruit is a hardware and software company based out of New York. They are the ones who make CircuitPython possible by paying myself and the rest of the folks who work on CircuitPython, directly, kind of like full-time as a job, or even part-time as a job. So thanks to Adafruit for doing that. If you want to help support them and CircuitPython, one of the easiest ways is just purchasing hardware from them. They have not only all sorts of microcontrollers like the Feather and the display that it's plugged into on this camera here. Both are Adafruit designed hardware. They also have all sorts of other bits and bobs that you can hook up to your microcontrollers and do stuff with, like fancy lights and glowy stuff, RGBs, expanders, breakouts, sensors, pretty much any kind of little electronic thing that you could imagine you can get over there, and when you do, it helps keep CircuitPython and everything else Adafruit running. We today I am diving back into the game that I worked on last week, and I have a specific thing I want to start with today, which is going to be refactoring the inventory screen generally, but starting with the inventory icon, basically. So I don't know how much of this part of the code I really got into last time, maybe a little bit, but I don't remember for sure. We worked on stamina and some other stuff. But in any case, the game, as I have it now here, we can maybe switch back real fast and give you just a very brief what we have so far. We have a little world that we can run around in. This uses the little gamepad I was showing just a minute ago. These obstacles, so to speak, are, they have collisions, so I can't run on top of the desk, I can't run on top of the anvil, or the bed, or the furnace, or the rock, so there's like movement collision. There is, when I press B, I go to an inventory page. Right now I don't have any items in inventory, so I can press B and go back. And right now, the easiest / only way to get items is from the rock, which is not working. Yeah, that's actually a thing we need to handle at some point. I think I know what the problem there is, but the point here is to show that we have an inventory with a scrolling list here. We only have one item, or we have 4 copies of an item, so we can't really scroll through the rest of it, although we kind of can a little bit. And then we have the stamina bar at the bottom there, which is showing the stamina of the character from mining the rock. In this case, it started going down, and it started giving us some items. And within the inventory list, so back here within the inventory list, we have a count of how many items. We have an icon that represents the item, and then we have an item name. These are all part of the inventory row, which is a group. The inventory row has basically just wraps all of those 3 visual things together. But for the icon in particular, there's actually some other stuff going on where it's essentially allowing it to... what's the best way to put it? It's allowing it to render the right picture, even though they're coming from different sources. Yeah. And to get a sense for that, you can see here we have main sheet icon and icon as 2 different things, but obviously visually we only show one icon, so those are actually both stacked on top of each other, and we use one sometimes and we use the other times. And the times are, the main sheet is going to be basically all the items that aren't the finished jewelry pieces, and then the icon here, which we should give a better name, is the jewelry pieces. And the way that it's broken up, the reason I should say that it's broken up like that is because the jewelry pieces, we can ultimately use these palettes. So there's copper bracelet, which is a bitmap, or a PNG actually, it looks like. And it has red inside of it, but we also have these JSON palettes, which essentially just hold a list of colors that can replace the red portion of the palette for this image to turn it to a different color. So it can go from red to green to blue to white, and eventually we'll have more, most likely. And then this thing is like hiding and showing the correct one of these 2 tile grids based on, which thing we want to show. What I would like to do is factor all of that behavior, those 2 things and all of that behavior, over into its own inventory icon. Which can extend... I mean, we could extend group, but yeah, we kind of have to extend group. Which is not the end of the world, but it does mean we have like an extra group in the mix that we don't like need otherwise. We don't need a group visually for any reason, but I would like to be able to add inventory icon to a group and then not worry about like outside of the inventory icon class, nothing else will worry about which icon it's showing when, which tile grid is showing, which one's hidden, whether it's the the main sheet or the individual ones. And in order for that to happen, we need to be able to have both tile grids, because there's two tile grids, one gets hidden, one gets shown. Yeah, and in order to have that completely encapsulated, the only way I can think to do it is make a group and put both in it. We're going to need tile grid. We might need some other stuff, but I'm not sure. Class. Yep. So these things count. These item is not none. These things. Where do these get used? Hmm. Okay. Yeah. These things should be part of inventory icon. I'm going to start by commenting instead of deleting. We do need to import that. That's just a... In fact, we'll need alternate palettes as well. Item sprites is basically just a dictionary that holds all of the... The name is actually not the best in the world. It holds the bitmaps, the loaded bitmaps, and the palettes as well, actually. But it's a dictionary, so everything has a string key, which means we can have objects in JSON, like in the map. Let's go to the map, or world activity. How we have objects declared in JSON like this, and it just says the sprite palette is this, the item sprite index is this. If it had one of the custom palettes that loads from the JSON files down here, then it would also specify that in the object here. So having that in a dictionary like this allows us to make strings that reference all of these things, which are going to allow all of our item definitions to be completely dynamic, basically. Should we, I guess we can accept an item? Can accept an item, I suppose, and then, but we will need the same kind of wrapping here, right? The same thing that was going on over in there. We want to not, if it's not none, then do these, else just set them to none for now, I think is what it did, right? Yeah. Maybe we could side by side these. Okay. Okay, count label is nothing. Icon, so eventually we'll say icon equals a new inventory icon. We'll create one of these, but let's get more of it existing before we create it. Yeah, these two things, these both belong to inventory icon. Do we want to break out the init views thing? I guess. Does this get called from anywhere else? No? I don't think we need that broken out off the top of my head, but let's see if we run into a reason why we might. Oops, I did a Control X accidentally. Actually, that can go up with this, as can the next one. Okay, icon, and then those get appended to self, which is a group. We extend group. We do need to super init. Yeah. Theoretically, could like pass through scale or something, but it's ultimately getting scaled by a parent group anyway, so we don't need to. Or an outer group that contains it. Okay. We don't need this actually. We should just do self. So actually, here's one place where that extra group is kind of nice. We can just set this to the group's location, and the group contains both the tile grids. They'll be in the top left of the group. If we scoot the group, the self instance of group over, then we don't need to do both of these. I'll come back and delete them at some point, but I'm kind of keeping some of the code because I'm anticipating messing this up somehow, needing to refer back to it. We will make a set item that basically works very similarly to this one, and we will also do this, I think, in here. Do we want to do that? Self.item? Maybe we don't want to keep that. Is there any reason for us to keep that? Yeah, I mean, eventually. I think we'll want it. I do think we'll want it. I'm going to keep it. Maybe we'll come back and delete it later, but I think we want an item here as well. It's kind of going to be duplicated because inventory row is going to contain an item, and technically an item object also contains a count and a name, which the icon obviously doesn't care about, but I think I'm going to do it that way anyway. So then we will, yeah, do this, set it to that. We are not caring about count, name, nope. Sprite sheet we do care about, so we're going to take these two lines, which I copy and comment them here. Skip to the next song. Yeah, alt palette, we want all of this. In fact, we want probably all the rest of this. So if there is alt palette in the item, then set the palette to alt palette. If there is item sprite index, then set the main so basically update the main sheet icon, which is a tile grid, this tile grid here, update it to show the tile at the index specified by item sprite index. It's 1 by 1, so 0, 0 is just like update the only spot in the tile grid. It probably would work with just 0, but I also don't want to break it on a probably should, so I'll leave it for now. But if item sprite, so if it's not main sheet, then icon bitmap equals the sprite sheet that it is, the one that we got set to, which came from item here. So this is why the strings are important, because we have a JSON object here which has a string for the sprite. We want to get the actual bitmap back from this dictionary here, but we don't want to like create a new instance of the bitmap inside, right? We don't want one copy of the main sprite sheet for every item that's on the screen. That would be excessive. This allows us to have just a single bitmap, and they all can use it, and then we can reference it by strings, which I've kind of declared as like this one means that one and so on. That will set hidden and stuff correctly. So then we should I guess if item is, I guess let's do this at the end, and then we can also just say if it's not none, we're going to go ahead and set item to item, which is going to go ahead and set this again, but whatever. Okay, I think that that should basically roughly work. And then in here, all of that's commented now. Okay, we're ready to actually do some of this. So, gonna do it any differently here? Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do it differently because we'll pass it in if it's not none. Actually, it doesn't matter, because if it's none, then we just pass none and we still catch the same check. Actually, I don't think it matters for that. So let's just say self.icon. We missed one of these. I think we'll just call it self.icon, even though that used to be a tile grid, and that's kind of confusing. Only if you knew the old code is it confusing, but that's fine. Self.icon is a new inventory icon with item. So if that's none, then it will pass in none. Oh, it is a bit awkward that we have, okay, also I did the wrong naming on this. That's a bit awkward. It is weird kind of that we have now inventory icons and inventory icon. It might be good to rename one of them. Like they names both kind of make sense independently, but it's a bit awkward to have the plural there, and they are also kind of different. I don't know. I guess we could just put the other stuff as like static stuff on that. Feels a bit janky though. I kind of like that just being an instance class thing. Because like inventory icons is like a kind of like singleton stuff. You don't create new instances of anything in here. Honestly, this should be called like assets maybe. And frankly, it could be expanded to things beyond the inventory. So really, it could just be like game assets. And within game assets, there are item sprites, but we could also end up having player sprites. Yeah, that's probably what we do. That's now. I don't know why that can't refactor. This was doing two things here. Really need to do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of those for now. I was checking in on the memory a bunch earlier, but I mean, I guess we could do this inside of init views would be probably most appropriate. But we don't have an item at that point. But we've already done self.item, so we can just say self.item, and then we can append it. Icon. And then when we call set item, instead of all this stuff down here, we only need self.icon.setItem item. So that kind of passes through all of that stuff. All right. Have we completely broken it or not? Probably we need to change game assets in at least one more place. Is that true? Maybe not. Inventory row. Inventory list? Would we need an inventory list? Yes. I don't know why the refactor didn't find and change those. Like the dot thing messes it up some. Alright. Maybe that's everything. Nope. Drifting inventory icons. That's in inventory icon line 2. It's trying to import itself? No. Oh, right. Duh. Assets. Oh, we don't need to do two of those. Has no tile size. We can set that. That's just like a constant for 16. So that would have been on inventory row before, probably. I think it's actually in a few places. But oh, it's actually passed in. I mean, yeah, I guess we could do that. Okay. Does it actually work? It does. Let's just like cheat a little bit to get one of the other kinds of items. So let me go real quick here and we'll just add both at the same time. Doesn't really matter. Whoops. Okay, I think we're done with this being over here. say gold emerald bracelet, and that is from gold bracelet. Don't remember. Nice. Okay. Like I don't remember how to do this part. Okay, so we need to give it the palette, but then we also need to give it the alternate palette, right? Because it's going to need both sets of colors, essentially. The colors for its metal and the colors for its colors gem, basically. So we do want, although that does say copper green, though. Okay. I'm not sure why I don't think I'm going to change it right now because I don't understand my prior rationale, if I actually had any beyond maybe we'll need it someday, but current Tim doesn't necessarily see a need for like copper green and silver green and gold green and platinum green. Because we're not like at least right now, we're not making use of that at all. It's just kind of pointless extra permutations. Because really what we have is like a green palette, a blue palette, a white palette, and technically a red palette, although that one's the default one, so we don't have to specify it. It doesn't matter whether you're on copper or silver or gold or platinum. Green is green, and you can tell because all of them are coming from the same JSON files anyway. Copper bracelet green, copper bracelet green, copper bracelet green. Okay. I think I'm coming back around a little bit. Yeah, we do actually need them because they are like a complete palette. And when we want to show the copper green thing, we do need all the correct colors to show both copper and green stuff. One question is, will we need a different one for other items? Like right now I've only done bracelets. Are we going to end up needing different palettes for each item? Hopefully we can avoid that. I think as long as we keep it, yeah, so the way the alternate palettes work is like in range 1 to 7. So basically there's six colors in the palette, and we bring those colors out, kind of plop them into those same indexes in a different palette. So is on the other artwork, even if the metal colors change slightly, it doesn't matter. As long as we put our actual 6 colors, the red, in the case of the defaults, as indexes 1 through 7, well, 1 through, 6 technically, range is exclusive, but then it doesn't really matter what comes after. Is that true? Yeah, because we'll always... No, maybe that's not true. I don't know. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, we only do have the bracelet. But we might need to add... This might need to be like copper bracelet green. Would be lame a little bit, because then we're not only already having a lot of permutations, we'll be having a lot more. But we do want gold green for right now, which I think is what it was called, right? No. Yeah, gold green, and then alt sprite, alt palette rather. Oh, actually, maybe that's what. Yeah, that's what should be gold green actually. Yeah, the palette, that should just be copper bracelet palette. No, gold bracelet palette. For some reason I got copper stuck in my head. Okay, and then we don't need item sprite index. You only need item sprite index if you are main sheet. Okay, so now when we mine the rock, we should get both of these, which gives us the ability to test if the refactor of inventory icon works. Yes. Nice. Cool. Okay, and then the reason why we want that refactored into its own thing is because we are going to use more of them over here. To basically make the crafting and also the I don't know, equipment basically. The stuff, the items you actually have equipped. Yeah, equipment seems like a fine way to say it. So to start with, let's go to inventory activity and let's say set function? Opposite function? Alt function? I think let's just say set function function type. And so these are basically going to be things like equipment and then the different crafting ones, the different. So like smelting is going to be one of them for interacting with the furnace. And so what it's going to do is, like, when you press A next to the furnace, it's going to switch you to the inventory activity, and it's also going to call set function smelting or whatever. And that is then going to make the right half of this screen turn into the smelting crafting interface. And for each one of the buildings, or not really buildings, but for each one of the like objects that you can interact with that has crafting, there will be a different one of these functions, and it will hide and show a group for that portion of the screen. This is my idea, I think. So should we make like equipment panel? Or should we just hold equipment inside of inventory activity as a group here? Let's start it. Let's break it out, I think. Let's break it out. If it doesn't end up being that long, maybe we eventually bring it back together, but let's say equipment panel. This is going to be a group. No, it's not going to get its parent. Yeah, super, we want that. Okay. So this is going to have, I think what I want for this is to be, we'll see if it fits, but I think what I want is label and then an icon and then a label and then icon, label, icon, label, icon. We're going to have how many though? We're going to have, we basically want all the equipment slots. So necklace, earring, earring, bracelet, bracelet, ring, ring is what I want to start with. So that's rings, bracelets, earrings, necklace. That's 4. We should have enough room for 4, I think. So we want labels. Did I end up? I don't remember if I ended up using the terminal font or yeah, right now it's on terminal font, I'm pretty sure. Experimented with a smaller font. I may still eventually change to a smaller font. That should be self, not super. I think I kind of want to center the text in the space that we have, which means that I kind of need to know how big the space that we have is. Which is not necessarily actually super duper easy to just figure out right away. One thing we have going for us is the progress bar is like a similar size. We could maybe just kind of fudge with that until we get it close and then we'll know roughly. So I don't need to be exact. I'm still gonna have some padding and stuff. So this is what size 100 pixels. So that's probably an extra what, 20 to 30 on top of that. So I'm pretty sure that we are in scale 2, ultimately. Which means... No, we need to get... So I think this display is 480 by 320. Yeah, 480 by 320, but we're in scale 2. So I think we actually want... But is the progress bar in scale 2? It must be, because it's only 100 wide, but it... I think I'm messing this up by moving the wires. Did I, like, break it? Unfortunate. Okay. Not to move it too much, but I would like it to be kind of straight, ideally. Yeah, I mean, this is so close to half of the width of the screen. It's not quite over half, but in order for that to be half, it means it has to be scaled by 2 as well, because it's only 100 pixels, but the screen's 480. Equipment panel, this is also going to get scaled. So I think that means that our total width is like 240, and then... So that's taking up about half, I guess. Did I plan that, or did that just is it really taking up about half, though? It feels... Well, because... Okay, so it feels like less because the map, the world is shorter. That's why it feels like less. No, I mean, that just looks like more than half the display, right? Isn't that? That's definitely more than half the display. All right. Well, let's give it the old guess and check a little bit. Let's just do that, and then... So this is going to be what? Self.necklace label anchor point halfway horizontal. Just the top vertical. That's the wrong way to do this. That's not what I want. Okay, so we know that the width of the whole panel we're going to say is... No, not 140. I went the wrong way. Let's say 100 out of 240, so a little bit under half. And then this is going to be... 100 over 2, or width over 2. I don't know, just a couple of pixels for padding. Okay. Oh, it already did that. Interesting. Why did it try to pass? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Panel, but we need to. That's kind of annoying. X equals 240 minus 100, 140. I think. Okay. Maybe right, maybe left aligned. After all of this, maybe left aligned would be better, or right aligned. I guess they're on the right edge. I mean, right aligned we need to know the width for anyway, so I guess that's fine. Why is this mad? All right. Let's just pass that for now. Okay. Does that even show? Yes. How does it fit? Ooh. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that pauses while it's updating that part of the screen still. Yeah, I mean, that looks kind of roughly centered inside of the available space, roughly, sort of. Good enough for me for the moment, at least. It could be further up. It's kind of far down, truthfully. I mean, it's not that far down, but it doesn't need to be as far down as it is, really. And then we're going to have... So this is why I wanted this to be refactored into its own thing, is because it's going to get used over here, too. And yeah, we will just item as none. Why is this mad? Unfilled? I guess we'll just pass none. I mean, shouldn't it just default to none? At glance. And then that's gonna go underneath the necklace label. And I guess it could also be centered. Though I care a little bit less because we're gonna have all of the other rows are gonna have two. I don't really care if the necklace is in between the two or just aligned with one of them. I think I'm actually inclined to say it should just be aligned with the first one. So can I just go necklace label, bounding box, XY width height? Does it have a height? It might just have that, actually. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna kind of like randomly do that and see where it ends up. It's not gonna have any item on it though, so let's cheat and just put an item on it. It's a necklace. We don't really have a necklace, but that's fine. It doesn't know that. I could just make a what? Okay, we don't actually need to do anything. That can go further up. Not sure why it's so far down. I guess maybe the height that exists, is that doubling for scale? That's doubling for scale? I don't know even what the height is really. Oh, this got created forever ago. 12. I want to say that's default. Not actually sure though. Hmm. All right, let me think. We'll decide what to do about that at some point. I'm gonna run to the restroom and I'll be right back. Okay. I think I'm just gonna do away. Well, we need Y though. We do need Y, I think. But Y. Oh, part of my problem is Y is like halfway down. That's right. We could do anchored position 1. That's actually more like what I thought it was gonna do, but it didn't. Yeah. So then we could. We want that like that, or do we just want to do more than +2? At the end of the day, it's like static anyway. Really matter. That's pretty far though. Let's do that and then just maybe +4. What's that look like? Might still be too far, I don't know. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. Oh, I skipped label. See how that goes. What? Okay. I think actually, after all of that, centered is not the way to go. This should just be... I'm just going to go left aligned, I think. Maybe let's just call it 2 and see where it ends up. And that can go back to 0. Okay. Which means that... Let me put one here, actually, so that we can see... Yeah, okay. I mean, they're kind of close, but they're not touching, and there is space between them, so... we can definitely scooch this back some. Guess it should just be the same as the text, should it? I think so. Does it look terrible if we have items? It's fine. So then for earrings we will have 2. For the rest of them we will have 2. I guess maybe earrings, should earrings be above necklace? Should it be like height order on the body? We could swap those around later. Um, I think I'm gonna make this a list, even though I really only intend on having two. But I suspect at some point having that as a list is gonna make it slightly easier to do some stuff. Especially if we ever go and allow more slots. Like right now my intention is 2 slots for rings, but like maybe somewhere down the line you unlock more or something like that. In which case if we plan ahead and make this a list, then everything will be a lot smoother. So earring icons is 2 icons, and can get rid of this. Those are going to be earring label. But we can't just do it like that. We need and the X we actually need to two plus I times file size plus 2. So two pixels in between. Maybe we want more in between, but let's see what that does for now. And in keeping with this, I'll just put a bracelet in both of them, even though it doesn't make any sense. Did not add them to the group, I think. $100. And did I mess up the, just try again. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but, yeah, I mean, there could be a bit more space. Maybe, what does it look like at double? If we do that, that's the padding between each one. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. We go down a little bit, actually. I didn't realize that was going to make that so close. Okay, so now basically all of these cons list for Alright, theoretically that should give us a bracelet section. Nope. Panel has no self? Excuse me? Self.self. Okay. Okay. This is all basically the same. Cool. And then eventually the deal will be you scroll through the icon, you press a button to equip a thing, and it will basically move it from your inventory to the slot over there. Or maybe we need a way to select as well. Yeah, we probably ultimately want a way to select as well. Press that bridge when we get to it. It might be nice to have inventory icon have like a selected thing that draws a border or some other visible indicator. That way we wouldn't have to worry inside of equipment panel about all the coordinates of like a selector thing. I mean, theoretically, we can just loop over our icons and put the selector near the icon. Maybe it's not so bad. Okay. We have equipment panel, doesn't function yet, but it's visual. And I think the thing is that equipment is really at the end of the chain of the game loop here, so I think that we probably just leave that alone for a while and start more back towards the beginning of the game loop, which is the smelting of the ore. And that is going to use a different panel. I guess we'll just call it the smelting panel. It's going to be similar. We could probably steal some of the stuff from the equipment panel. Definitely the width. It's going to be a group. Does group have hidden? Or is that only tile grid? Group has hidden. Okay. So, yeah, I guess we'll just hide them. And then instead of like equipment icons, this will have basically the crafting icon or icons. And in this case, I guess I could have made these a list even as well. Yeah, I should probably actually go back and do that, right? This should be icons. That should be a list. And then that way all the code can be exactly the same. Does feel a little janky to use a for loop here, but I mean, in the interest of all the code being exactly the same. I mean, I don't think we'll ever probably have more than one. I think here I'll just tack the 0, actually. Yeah. So these will be crafting icons. Guess I'll just call that panel label since we're gonna have more than one, and it doesn't need a different name for each one necessarily. Let's not do that for now, actually. Or, you know what? Let's do it with or, just so it looks a little more like it's gonna eventually. And then we'll come back in a minute and figure out actually putting it in instead of hard coding it. Okay, so let's say when we're in the world activity, if we press the A button, so here this is saying if 3 is in the adjacent tiles, 3 is, it's 3 because that's the index of the rock, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3 is the rock. So I want to know smelting. Actually, this, I don't know which one I used. I have 2 smelters right now. I think I used the I use the big one? $15? Oh, right. Yeah, I'm looking for like, why is this -1, but I should be looking here and above. Okay, so 15. Yeah, that's the big one because that's gonna be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's index 7, which means that's index 15. Probably would be good to make constants for these. I don't know where they should go though, so I'm not going to do it right now. Okay, so if they press A and they're next to the smelting thing, furnace, then we want to change to inventory, but we also want to change the inventory to show the other panel. We maybe should take another thing here. Okay, I called this set function, but I'm actually going to change it to set panel. All right, if panel equals equipment I will want a dictionary of other panels. So we have the equipment panel. We're going to say self.crafting panels is a dictionary where we have currently just smelting, but we're going to add more, which is the smelting panel. And then we'll say for cur panel in panel self crafting panels values, I guess. Sure, that's fine. Then cur panel hidden true. So make the equipment panel visible and all the others non-visible if that was equipment. Otherwise, we make the equipment panel hidden, and then we loop over those and we say if, no, we want keys actually. We could do key values, I guess, but per panel key. if cur panel key is equal to panel, make it visible, crafting panels, cur panel key, else, yeah, make it not visible. Okay, so now you can pass in panel to set activity, and it will pass it through to inventory activity. Yeah. So we should be able to now, when we are here, we're going to go, yeah, if we press A and we're next to the furnace, then we go to inventory and we go to the smelting panel. See if all of that actually works or not. Okay. Yeah, let's just go there. Not necessarily ideal. Seemed to work. I'm surprised. Oh, right, because none goes to equipment. Okay, so that's actually good. I think maybe, did we just forget to add it to the group? We might have just forgot to add. Yeah, we're not doing self.append, self.panel label, self.append, crafting icons 0. This is probably where the loop might make more sense, but because the thing is, smelting only requires one item. You only put in ore. Other crafting will require multiple items eventually. I don't know why that's still not working. Hmm. Okay. So that's getting called directly there. Is that part working? Yes. Did I not add the crafting panel to the inventory activity? I did not. Yeah, okay. So that's adding the equipment panel. Need to actually add the crafting panel as well. All of them for crafting panel. Yeah. Okay. Now the problem is that it's in the wrong spot. Should be panel X140, same as the equipment, and that'll just be all of them. They'll all be over there in the right half. Okay. That's another thing we need to fix. My code that handles collisions basically checks the four corners, and if you walk up exactly in the middle of a thing, then the corners that it's checking are actually outside of the thing there. No, I don't want to buy any viewers. Please go away. Again, I'm in this position where I feel like ban is like not where ban. Banned. You have been banned, my friend. Sorry, but don't try to sell me viewers. Oops. Okay. Yeah, but anyway, that's a problem for a different time. I know what the problem is. I think I know how I'll fix it, but keep going here. So yeah, so this will actually start out empty most of the time. But what we will want to do is you can scroll through your inventory and then press probably A while you have one selected, and then it will move that one that's selected into there. Possibly even just, should it start crafting right away, or should it wait for you to do something? I mean, in this case, it's only got a one recipe thing. I guess you could maybe put the wrong thing by accident. Yeah, I haven't really thought, I guess, about how I want that part to work. I guess we could start on the first part. Let's make this not get a thing. In fact, we just don't need to call set item at all. So how about we say, we also need the concept of like items being available for certain types of crafts. Okay. Getting towards the end of the stuff that I have actually planned out in my head. So far everything I've done here I kind of thought about before and laid out mentally. We are reaching about the end of that stuff. I think what I'll do is, let's say Side inventory activity, handle button A. We need to know which one is selected. Selected index. See, but part of the trickiness of this is one of these accounts for scrolling and one of them doesn't. No, shift is doing that. Okay, so at any given time, though, the selected item is the selected index within self.items. I think. So how about we say when you move the arrow, or no, let's start with just when you press the A button. Let's say when you press the A button, let's try to print the item that is selected. So self.inventory list selected index, and then it will actually be self.inventory list.items, square brackets, selected index. I think, maybe? But that will... Okay. Back to here. To there. Smelting. I'm going to press A. Okay. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Let's yeah, I think that the item should also have a crafting type, which it doesn't currently. Currently that gets spawned from here. Eventually we'll probably have like a main list of all of these, but right now they just kind of get introduced wherever I want them to. Smelting. So that's going to have a crafting type of smelting, which is going to make it eligible to be put into the smelting inventory icon, basically. Also, I think we want to store the visible panel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we want to store the visible panel as a string. Okay, so then we can say when you press A, if the selected item if selected item object if crafting type in the object and the crafting type is equal to, I don't know why you would say in and then a single list. That's a weird way to write that. Yeah, okay, so if it has a crafting type and if the crafting type is not smelting but visible panel, so whichever panel is visible, if that matches the crafting type of the visible panel, then we go and say yeah, this gets a bit weird because once we have multiple slots, everything could get all crazy on us. Maybe I should have started back at the end. Ooh. So what do we want to do though? We basically want to bump it out of the inventory and put it into the panel. Item is none. Item is item. Icon.set item. No, crafting icons. Well, yeah, this is the smelting one, so we know we only have one, so we'll say crafting icon 0.set item. Item, yeah, so maybe we should say add item? Maybe we should say add item, and items actually should be a list in order to match crafting icons. And except we know that yeah, see, we get into this weirdness where like taking items back out of here needs to go back to, but that's the inventory activities problem, not the smelting panels problem, I think. So when you add item, maybe we shouldn't make it a list. I feel like we probably want it to be a list though. I don't know. I might need to brainstorm this section a bit more, truthfully. Like the actual way the interaction should work. Because basically what I want is it to disappear from inventory, go to smelting, show up there, and then I guess you will have some other button. Maybe there's a button at the bottom for the actual like craft to make it go. Or maybe you just press like X or something. I still have more buttons on my controller. Yeah, I think I'll do that probably. So you bounce it over with A, but somehow we need a way to bring it back. And then the other thing we need ultimately is when we get to the crafting types that have multiple ingredients, like 2 ingredients, for instance, a gold ingot and a cut emerald to make a emerald bracelet there. Somehow we need to be able to add 2 items. It doesn't, unlike, it's not like Minecraft. We don't care where they're at. There's no like physical orientation. We're not doing the 9x9 thing, 3x3 thing. I don't even think we need to lock it down to like, this is the gem slot and this is the metal slot. I don't think that matters. But we will probably want a way to put it in and then like without crafting decide that you want to undo and take it back out. Like what if you put it on the wrong one, for instance, and you want to go back? Somehow you should be able to get it back out of there, but not like clear the entire thing. Like if you put copper and a gem and then you're like, oops, I wanted to do a different gem, you should be able to get rid of your gem and then add the other one without having to like re-add the copper. I don't know. I'm pretty far into the weeds of the specific interactions. Anyway, I've at least uncovered the next thing I need to brainstorm about, which is good. I do think I'm going to just wrap it up a bit early because I don't know which direction I want to go on this. And I feel like if I just bust something out off the top of my head here, it's not ultimately going to be what I want. And I don't even know if I'll get something that works in the 15 minutes that's left. And I could probably get something that works in the most basic sense, but I doubt it will be what I ultimately want. So, yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up for now here. Thank you to anybody who is watching. Thanks to anybody who watches in the future. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. Good weekend. I should be back next week at the normal time as far as I know. Yeah, as far as I know, I'll be back next week at the normal time, 10 a.m. Central Time on Saturday. Yeah, I think that's all. So until then, I will see you later. Thanks for watching, and have a good